Alright, in this video I will be going over the proper rotations for Chrono Tank for raids. Here in PvP you'll have a slightly different setup, not very much. Mainly the only difference is you're not going to have enough boon duration to actually see the amount of quickness that you've been putting out in PvE. But your traits here are going to be the same as you would use in PvE. You got Dueling, Illusions, and Chronomancer. Top, bottom, bottom for dueling, straight across for illusions, and straight across the bottom for Chronomancer. For equipment in PvE, you're going to use a sword shield and sword focus. The sigils really do not matter all that much. The rune is very important. You're going to want Chronomancer runes in PvE. This gives you quickness, 2 seconds of quickness when you cast a well. This is very important. And for PvP, if you want to practice, if you have it already unlocked, by all means use it, but you don't need to use it in order to get your rotations down, because the Vigilance Amulet costs something like 10 gold. But it's okay to see how much quickness you kind of give, because of the concentration that increases boon duration. But here, like I said, you've only got 37 boon duration in PvE. With your food buff and a Revenant F2, you'll get right up to 100%. So what I have here is 3 shield illusions. Typically you're going to want to use Echo of Memory to block, to help mitigate damage, and also when you successfully block with it, you can use it a second time. This will immediately give you 2 Illusionary Avengers for shield, which will give you permanent alacrity sitting underneath the boss. I have 3 here just because it increases the alacrity, and you need 3 in order to use Continuum Split correctly. So, your basic rotations. You're always going to want 3 illusions before casting Continuum Split at the beginning of a raid boss. Typically you're going to block again, that'll give you 2, and then you can either dodge or use Illusionary Leap to get 3, and then you're going to immediately go into your rotations. Now the proper rotations are 3 different stages. I will go over each individual stage by itself and then run through everything together. If you mess up your rotations, you only have a ½ second to 3/4 of a second extra time to cast everything before Continuum Split ends. It is very important that you cast everything as fast as possible. It helps if you have a gaming mouse with buttons, with programmable buttons. Your entire rotation here with Continuum Split would be you use Continuum Split, and then the first thing you use is Time Warp. A little trick you can use is you can pre-cast Time Warp and just cast Continuum Split before Time Warp finishes cast. That way you have a little bit of extra time if you're having trouble finishing off all your rotations. So again, you're going to start with Continuum Split, and you're going to use Time Warp, then you're going to use your Tides of Time, your Shield 5. You're going to want to use Time Warp and Tides of Time first because that gives you quickness, which allows you to cast the rest of your skills faster. Then the next skill that you're going to want to use is your Well of Action. This gives more quickness, and you're going to want to use this first out of the 3 wells because the quickness comes after after a period of time. The duration is 3 seconds, so you have to make sure that that's the first skill that you use, other than your Time Warp and Tides of Time. Otherwise, it's not going to cast and get it off before you cast your Signet of Inspiration. So, Continuum Split, Time Warp, Tides of Time, Well of Action, and then you're going to use Well of Eternity, Well of Calamity, and finally Signet of Inspiration. Now, you have to get all of these skills up before Continuum Split ends. Otherwise, your last skill that you cast, Signet of Inspiration, if you mess that up, that's going to be on cooldown when Continuum Split ends, because you're not going to finish it before Continuum Split ends. So what this looks like is Continuum Split, Time Warp, Tides of Time, Well of Calamity, Well of Eternity, Well of Calamity, and Signet of Inspiration, and I just pushed the wrong button. But see, even then, I pushed the wrong button, and you still didn't even get it off. So now that this is on cooldown. So now we gotta wait for that to come back off cooldown. That's stage 1. While you're in squad, there's going to be 3 separate subgroups. There's going to be mostly the melee guys in group 1, the spellcasters in group 2, and druid in group 3. It can vary from squad to squad. It's not always going to be all melee in group 1 and all ranged / spellcasters in group 2. It just doesn't always happen that way, and it's not optimal to have it that way either. But your home, for the most part, is going to be wherever the most spellcasters are, because you want to start off giving those guys the alacrity, because they need it. They want their skill recharge back. The melee do not need skill recharge. They want the quickness. So if you start off giving alacrity to the ranged and the spellcasters, such as Tempests and Condywars, they can put out more skills and more damage. And when you run through stage 1, you're giving them the most alacrity. You go through all your skills in, for example, subgroup 2 with the casters, and then right here we're going to go through this again. Used correctly, everything comes back, and then you're going to swap subgroups to the casters. You're going to go through all of these again, not casting Time Warp. You never cast Time Warp without continuous play. So now you just gave twice the amount of quickness to the melee group, which is what they want. They want quickness to spam 1 faster. And then you can swap back to the caster group here. So that's stage 2. Stage 3 is right here, when continuous split's still on cooldown, and your skills are up. You're gonna go through the same rotation again, use all 4 of these skills, swap groups to the melee casters, and then use Signet of Inspiration and swap back. This is because you want to give, again, more quickness to the melees and alacrity to the casters. That is stages 1 through 3 in separate times. We'll go through all 3 stages right now as soon as I get all my things back. Let's see, we gotta get some shield guys back up. And again, if I had any subgroups, if I had a squad, I would show you the switching while tanking and stuff like that. But you need to just sit here in front of an indestructible golem and practice for half an hour. Just get your rotations down, because trust me, when you're trying to tank and pull Veil Guardian or Gorseval to the right spot, make sure you're not getting hit by the teleports, make sure you're not getting hit by eggs or getting hit by knockdowns. It's gonna throw your rotations for a loop. You're gonna want to have these in muscle memory, because otherwise it's not gonna work out so well. Alright, so now we have all 3 illusions up. We can cast Continuous Split and be on our merry way. So I'm with the spellcasters here in the subgroup, about to start my first rotation here. We're gonna go off and use this. Alright, finish my first rotation, swap groups to the melee casters, go through my rotations again, and get all my skills off, swap back to the spellcasters. And now I'm sitting here tanking, I'm tanking. Oh, I just dodged a portal. Alright, everything's coming back off cooldown. Waiting for cooldowns, and at this point we can cast again. I'm in the spellcaster group here, spellcasters, cast all my skills, swap to the melee group, and cast Signet of Inspiration to give that quickness to them, and then swap back. Now again, here we don't have 100% boon duration, so this will actually be around 35 seconds of quickness. So you're going to maintain perma quickness for all 10 people in the raid. And here all my skills are back up, so we go through stages 1, 2, and 3 all over again. That concludes the basic rotations for this video for Chrono Tank. PM me in game if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.